Hi, welcome to this exciting episode where we discuss relationships and more specifically marriages. And the big question is what sustains marriages? What is that thing that people do that enable them to live happily? And I don't know that this time I should say happily ever after. But the question is, what is that thing that maintains relationships? And most importantly in this case, marriage, because marriage is a sacred institution. And I want to say, many people, most of the world we are living in, do not even look forward to going back home to their spouses. They are either tired, confused, bored, uninterested, on their way out, on the fence, clinging by the door. And it's become such a sad situation that relationships and more specifically marriages, the other day there was a discussion that marriage is a scam. And I'm a strong believer that marriage is not a scam because marriage is ordained by God. So therefore, you need to find the right resources that maintain a marriage. When you purchase a car, it is not the excitement of purchasing that vehicle that sustains that vehicle. I want you to take a minute and think about that. And I like to say, and I've heard this said before by the late Miles Monroe, that love is the least important ingredient in marriage. And that builds onto something that I have shared with you on this channel before, that I'm a strong believer that marriage is not sustained by love. Miles Monroe at one point went ahead to say that of the people, the majority of the people who have come to him at the verge of divorce, many of them say that I love this person, I love my spouse, but I can't stand them. So it's important that as a couple, that as a person who is in a relationship, then you work on the important factors that gear you towards maintaining, growing, sustaining, blossoming your marriage. And many of those things are not the things that you, me, and everybody else really talks about. They are not the complex things that the world today has made us think. That about having a successful marriage is making my wife dress expensive, living in an expensive neighborhood, driving an expensive car, taking my children to an expensive school. Those are not the things that sustain marriage. Marriage is sustained by a concrete decision by the two of you to love, to actually be there in that marriage. Because there are things that love cannot sustain. Love will not pay school fees. Love will not settle conflicts. Love will not help you understand your partner better. So what are these things that I feel that are important for us to start working on today? Number one is our finances. Out of my engagements with quite a number of couples, I've found that the issue of finances in marriages is deep. It's crazy. And I've been there. Remember one time we used to have issues with my wife around money. Until got to a point and said, what is the whole of this issue? We've been there when we did not have money. Now when we have money, it's an issue. So the problem is not the money, but the problem is us knowing how to handle ourselves, whether there is money or not. Which unfortunately many of us do not put a concrete decision to manage it. So finances, how do you handle the issue of finances? Are you open about it? I'm dealing with such kind of an issue with somebody who is very close to me, between them and their spouse. And I'm telling you, the issue of mistrust in couples with money is crazy. It's annoying. That I want to get a report of even the slightest of a coin that is spent in my house. We are living in a time when now, as couples, we are fighting over obligations because someone has more money than the other. But remember, when you got together and decided to get married, that was not an issue. Even at that time, somebody was making more money than the other. So what is these things that we must be very deliberate about working on? Number one, as I said, is finances. Can you sit down with your spouse and talk about money? Sit down and decide that money will never be a reason why the two of you are constantly in conflict. Because when you have a lot of it, then it's conflict. When you don't have it, then it's conflict. So you have to decide that the two of you are greater than the money that you will ever make. And then you can imagine these fights around finances escalates to even now include our relatives, include your in-laws, include even, unfortunately, our children. So it's important that as a couple, you sit down and have a proper discussion around money. I know this is always a very tricky area to discuss, but for me and my wife, we chose to operate a joint account. Why? Because we chose the route of transparency with our money. There's no her money, my money, it's all our money that is meant to be used within our family. When I have money, she knows. When I have money, we have money. When she has money, we have money. So, and that's a choice we made. But it's because of going through situations when we found that we were conflicting and we were actually arguing quite a bit about money. The other thing is the issue of trust. I like to say trust is a better compliment than love. This person that you chose to marry have their faults just like you. You have to choose to trust them. You have to choose to also be trustworthy. You have to sit together and discuss and agree on how you're going to work on your trust. Trust is a two-way traffic. Trust is a give and take affair. I can't trust you when you don't trust me. So you have to be deliberate about deciding to trust each other. And I like to say, when you are actually a couple, the worst thing that will actually, the thing that will make sure that your relationship does not stand the test of time is trust. Why? Because everything else that you'll ever do as a couple is founded on trust. And trust, remember, is a better compliment than love. How many people do you love yet you don't trust? So I had better trust my wife than love her. Why? Because I know I am safe with her. Even for you as a man, as a woman, with your spouse, it is better to trust that person. Because trust then builds on a lot of things are built on love, including on trust, including love. So choose to trust each other. Choose, be deliberate and action on how you build on your trust as a couple. The other thing that you have to be able to do as a couple to maintain your relationship and your marriage is to decide who you let in your circles. Many marriages today are breaking because of who a couple has allowed into their inner circles. The space around me and my wife is just my space and her space. My parents don't come in there. My siblings don't come in there. My children don't come in there. My colleagues don't come in there. I don't take opinions about my wife from anybody. Now, for you who probably are today in conflict, how much have you allowed people into that space, into that sacred space between you and your spouse? How many things has somebody come and told you, or how often do people come and tell you, I saw your spouse in such and such a place? You know, you are basically letting people who know nothing about you, who know nothing about your relationship, who probably have no goodwill with your relationship, get into that space. So today, why don't you simply purpose and be intentional about who you let in that space, who you allow, who you allow in that space. Why? Because that space is actually sacred. So you have to choose. Don't listen to, I actually call it noise to a large extent. Nobody knows my wife better than me. So whatever else you may ever want to tell me about my wife is your opinion, which unfortunately I'm not interested in knowing. But some of us, you listen, some of you listen to too much information from people who do not have goodwill for your relationship, from people who are not in that relationship. So protect that circle, guard that circle. There are things that you don't even go telling your relatives about your spouse. There are some mistakes that your spouse will do, and you actually choose that this is for me to keep to the grave. Unless it is going to get to a point and affect you psychologically or mentally, then you may need some help. But then even when you are seeking help, the first place I like to say that you get counsel in regards to your relationship is not from a relative. It's from a professional. When you are sick, you go to a doctor. When your car is having issues, you take it to the mechanic. How comes when you have marital issues, you run to that relative who is a drunkard up in shags who beats their wife? You cannot get advice from somebody who does not have an experience of what you need advice for. So be deliberate about protecting the inner space, protecting that space that is sacred between you and your spouse. And that way, we'll start tackling these problems of men don't want to go home early. Somebody the other day was telling me, I prefer to get home when my wife is asleep. Somebody else, a lady, was saying, wacha akae huko nje akuje tu kama amechoka, amelewa, akuje kama amelala. Is that the kind of relationship that you want to build? Do you think if you build that kind of relationship, your children will ever come to you for advice when they're in crisis in their relationship? I witnessed a sad scenario not very long time ago, where a sibling in the family, the parents are deceased. Their siblings cannot come to them for counsel because they have wrecked their marriage. So your sibling, your younger siblings, comes for counsel from your younger sibling because for you, you have nothing but a relationship that you can advise them about. People are wise today. You cannot advise me on wisdom that you do not own, or you do not possess, or you do not practice. So the other thing that you need to work on in your relationship is just about deciding to treat each other right. You know, the sweet words, the flames, the desire for that was there in courting. You must be deliberate about sustaining that desire. Some of it probably was not even based on truth. It was not based on the facts. It was not based on the fact that this person did not know your dark side. Unfortunately, now they know. You know, there are things when you are dating that you put off, or you shelf, or you protect your fiancé from, because if they knew, probably they might not approve of that. Probably some of those things include snoring. That's why they never came to sleep at your house. But now you are in this relationship that really you have to snore next to this person. So you have to do those things that brought you together. You have to choose to be deliberate about enjoying your marriage, because you're not going to get another wife. You're not going to get another husband. Now, how many other people will you marry and drop simply because they have a fault? When you are enjoying your nice plate of pilau and a fly comes and lands on your pilau, what do? Do you throw away the entire plate? When you're enjoying your nyama choma and inzi inakuja hapo kwa nyamcho, do you take the whole of your nyama choma and throw it away? Or do you simply take those one or two pieces that have had that the fry has touched and do away with them and continue enjoying the rest of your meal? So let's be deliberate. The option or the decision or the cure of your relationship today is going back and deciding to enjoy your marriage. Love that girl once again. Enjoy her company. Enjoy that man's company. Probably when you married him, he had a flat tummy. He had a flat tummy. Now he has been working. He doesn't work out, have time to work out anymore. So of course, his belly has now protruded. For you as a woman and for you as a man, when you married this girl, she was a figure 8. She's put on weight, of course. Why? She's given you the privilege of being a father. That is something that she has paid for with her life. Every time a woman goes through delivery, it's a near-death situation. I say today, when I'm even talking, there is no woman that can give me what my wife gives me. Yes, it could be sex, okay, it's a 5 minutes thing, or whatever period of time. But the one thing that anybody can never give me is the children that this beautiful lady has given me. So I take that with pride and I guard it. Why? Because there are things that are natural. Had somebody say, if you think that you will have a husband who is handsome for the rest of your life, just take a walk and go and look at your father-in-law. Hey, young man, you're thinking that girl will remain beautiful forever? Just go and meet the mother. Then you see the future that you're buying into. But if you choose to enjoy your marriage, if you choose to be deliberate about building your marriage, you will enjoy each and every one of those times when she puts on weight, because you have been blessed with a new bundle of joy. There will be a glow about growing old together. When you can no longer afford to do all those gymnastics, but you still remain and maintain the glow of your relationship. So what am I saying? We'll carry on this series where we will have an open discussion as couples, where we start living beyond what I think is fashionable, what I think would be good, what I think will just be appealing, and that which gives me validation before my friends. We have to get to a time where as couples we become real with each other. We have to become real with the fact that we have chosen to enjoy our marriage. And when you do that, believe you me, my brother, my sister, there's a beauty in building and having a successful marriage. A successful marriage does not come easy. I'm sure for the people who have been married older, you know this. For the new couples, unfortunately in this time and age, people are coming into marriage with all the misconception. Marriage is not about sex. It's not a gateway to free sex. You don't have sex morning, lunch, and supper. when you get into a marriage, it's your sleeves folded. And then you start working on that relationship. So let's have this discussion. Let's open up the conversation. You can reach out to us at Excellence Molders. You can reach out to me, the CEO of Excellence Molders, and we see, can we sit down and correct some of these things? Challenges will always be there. I say I've actually at one point been at the blink of losing my marriage. But thank God for sobriety, for soberness. So I want to walk with you who may be going through that kind of a challenge. I want to stand with you. I want us to walk together. I want us to bring back the first love. And if you're just about getting married, I would want us to walk a journey. Plug into some of our programs that help you get the best out of your life, because you go into it then with information and knowledge. And that way then you are able to build a beautiful relationship. Let's watch out for part 2 of this series, and kindly comment and like and share our video. And we hope that you have continued finding this channel a resource to you. Thank you very much.